Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
So, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Brand Doctor Podcast episode. I'm going to change the view. I want to go gallery view. So we're a little bit bigger on screen. And we are going to interview a very special guest that I found on LinkedIn recently. I've been talking about LinkedIn like crazy. I've met some really, really great folks on LinkedIn over the past couple of months that I really got serious with LinkedIn. And I found Tonya literally just in passing. I was trying to find some cool entrepreneurs, to have on my podcast and to sort of help them get out there more and share their stories. And bumped into Tonya and was really impressed. So Tonya Kersey from TonyaKersey.com, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here. Hey,
awesome.
Everybody.
So where are you calling in from today?
I'm in Beverly Hills, California.
Very cool. I guess that would be a good spot to be doing what you do, right?
Right. It's very, very Hollywood.
All right. So let's get this show on the road. How I like to start these podcasts that I have guests on with is I want to know where did that passion come from to actually get involved in this industry and take it to where you've taken it thus far?
It's funny because I started in front of the camera. I was 5 years old and my mom signed me and my sister up. We were models in New York City working on Fashion Avenue, 7th Avenue, and we were doing runway shows for designers. We were the young kids for the kids' clothes. And so, I was kind of indoctrinated by my mom at 5. And then I danced at Dance Theater of Harlem, which everyone knows. And I was in piano and I was in all of these things. And I just always wanted to be an actress and a model. But I was too short to be a fashion model, I thought. But that's when petite modeling came out. So I actually, did like a National Cosmetics ad and did my acting. I was on All My Kids, All My Children, and a bunch of soap operas. And I was a full-fledged New York City stage and TV actress. And it's all I ever wanted to do. And it seems like I just got lucky, and I figured things out really quickly. So then I wrote a book on how to get into the business, the Black state of the arts for Black actors and models. And once you write a book, at least back in the day when I did it, because we're talking like the late 80s, this was pre Amazon.com. So you were really a publisher, and you had to really get out there. There was no internet to kind of help you. And I just became somebody that everybody wanted to learn from. And I really didn't know that much myself, but I became the expert. So I had to learn really, really quick. And everything that I've done is basically, I just say it's God working because it was not planned. I went from doing my book into building a trade paper called Black Talent News, which was the first Black trade paper in Hollywood, just like Hollywood Reporter and Daily Variety. It was sold on newsstands all over the country. And then I got out of that and I went to build the Hollywood Black Film Festival, which is now in its 15th year and one of the largest Black film festivals in the world. And I'm still out there coaching and mentoring filmmakers. So it was something that I always wanted to be in, and it just kind of mushroomed, and it happened for me. I was really lucky. But now I got to put the muscle behind it. Once you kind of fall into it, you got to make up for all the things you don't know. And so I had to do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me about this film festival that you've created literally from scratch and this brand that you've created to help filmmakers be seen and get heard and get their film sold.
Well, like I said, everything that I've done, I kind of fell into it. So once I fell into it, I had to figure out what was my brand, because people were telling me, you're this, you're that, you're like the guru. Someone said to me, you're the Harriet Tubman for Black actors in Hollywood. I couldn't believe when they said that. I was like, oh my gosh, here I am now. And so, I just built it up. I just had to own that. doing what I did, even though I didn't know as much as a lot of other people. But I knew enough, and I knew what my audience wanted. And that's really was the most important thing. And so the brand became me. And
so I want to stop there 1 second.
Okay.
You knew what your audience wanted.
Right.
And what was that?
They wanted information for them, because in Hollywood, you had the Hollywood Reporter and Daily Variety, and they didn't talk about any Black productions. I mean, today we're in the Black Panther world, so it's a totally different thing. But back then, you would go in the trade papers and there would be no Black movies listed. I mean, it was like we were forgotten. And so I filled that gap. And I brought them the information. I collected all the information on what was happening in Hollywood for Black actors, for Black filmmakers, Black directors, put it all together, put it in a trade publication, and it ends up getting distributed all over the country.
Now, how'd you do that? How'd you get that homework done?
You know what? You got to read. I always say that, you got to educate yourself. And that was really what it was. I mean, I was not born a publisher, but I became a publisher of a major trade paper that printed up like 10,000 copies a month and was distributed on newsstands all over the country. But it was basically, I knew at a really young age that I had to follow the dots and that the information was out there. And like I said, this was pre-internet days. So before I moved to Hollywood, I ordered a trade paper and had it mailed to me so I could know what was happening. And now in the internet age, it's a little bit easier. But it's the same thing, if whatever you're out there promoting and doing, you really have to have a handle on it, know what you're doing. Like I said, know who your audience is and know how to really bring it to them so that they eat it up. And they ate it up really quick, much faster than I even expected. And I ended up having a business that was growing way faster than I even knew what to do with it.
Aha, which leads me to the next question. As you're building this brand, how old is your business at this point?
I started, my daughters were born 88. So the very first beginnings of it was in the 86.
Oh my God. So this is a very seasoned brand. This is a very seasoned business. So there's a lot of wisdom that goes behind these words.
That's when I started, right?
That's when you started.
Festival is 15 years old now.
Wow.
The trade paper was started. I got a scholarship to go to what's it called? Oh my gosh, the college, Stanford University. I got a fellowship to go there. And that's where I learned how to publish magazines in the summer, basically, and just went out there and did it. I think you can do anything you want to do. And I think the problem is that when people can't do it, it's because they don't feel confident. And the way to get confident is to be educated. So if you know what you know is what you know, you're going to be fine.
Amen. 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 So one of our Facebook viewers has a question. So Paul Sabay says, what events do you attend? Do you go to the NATPE, National Association of Television?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you attend that?
Well, it depends on what mode I'm in. So when I was a journalist because I ran a trade paper. So then obviously I went as the media to everything. I've been going to the Oscars for like 15 years now. So yeah, I would go to NATPE because I would want to get information to bring back to my audience because they want to know what was going on in terms of television production. Now I go to NATPE to schmooze with potential investors and potential sponsors for my film festival. So, you got to know where the places are that you need to be. And there's a few of them that you got to be at. I went to Toronto Film Festival, Tribeca, Sundance, the places that you need to be. And those are the places that I go. And I go for whatever I need. So it changes for everybody.
I love that you bring that up. And that's something that I really want people to understand. You need to be where your audience is at. I see a lot of people on Facebook that really shouldn't be on Facebook. You know what I mean? One of the reasons why I started to really navigate LinkedIn is because I'm a business to business. And so when I found other entrepreneurs on this platform, they're all into net. Like it's almost like it comes across so natural to connect with somebody on Facebook. LinkedIn versus Facebook. Facebook's used for friends, family, whatever. Not that I didn't get a lot of business out of Facebook last year, but LinkedIn seems to be like
the business.
Yeah. So I love that you attend these events to mingle with the right audience. And so for those that are listening and watching, pay attention. Tonya's onto something here. So as we continue this journey and you're building this brand up, my question to you is, what was one of the big hiccups? What was one of the big moments, that rattled your cage, that you said to yourself, this is sink or swim?
Okay, so I know exactly what that was. That was when I first started the trade paper. You want to become an affiliate of different organizations, but I did not have the circulation. Hollywood Reporter and Variety had 30, 40,000 people. Not that much, actually, because they're niche. So, it wasn't that I had to get like 1 million, but I needed to get up there. And so what I did was I made friends with the person who was in charge of letting people in. And I've always said that, even if like you're a filmmaker and you want to meet an agent, meet the secretary, meet the person that's the gatekeeper, and they will help you get in. That's how I got into the TV Critics Association and any group that I got in, because I was small and I didn't have the creds yet, and I didn't have the circulation, and I didn't have the following. But, if you can reach out and become friendly and let people know that you're passionate about what you want to do, and I let them know that I got to be in this, I got to be in this group because, and that's basically how I did it. And that's
so you found the inside track is what we call it. We find the inside track and we figure out how to provide value up front. We try different things to, come across as, not that person that's trying to wiggle their way in, right? But at the same time, that we need to get into these things. So how else to do it? So I like that you targeted, if you, for lack of better words, the right people and found that leverage somehow, some way. Now you mentioned offline. You mentioned offline that you started to grow too fast.
Way too fast.
Yeah.
I had a distributor that wanted, twice as many copies of my publication. And I was just starting out, so I didn't have a bunch of advertisers yet to pay for it. So I had to figure out how to pay for it, because I knew it was important to get them the number of copies that they wanted so they can get out there and people could subscribe. So I had to front that money, which I didn't have. So I had to go to family and friends. So it's by any means necessary. When you find yourself growing too fast, sometimes it could really hurt you because you can't move forward. So that was a big danger. And that happened a couple of times with me. So now I'm really careful and I'm real strategic in planning what I'm going to do, because there was such a vacuum, such a hole that people weren't filling. And so Black actors and Black filmmakers, as soon as I came on the scene, they were drawn because I was giving them information that they never had before. I was helping them in ways that they had never been helped before. So even now, in the industry, there are very few people who do what I do. And, that's why people, I think, are really drawn to my brand. And it's funny because someone once said to me, I trust you. And then I heard a lot of people say that. And I said, wow, over all these years, people had seen what I did and they trusted me. And that was one of the reasons for my success.
Huge point there. And branding has everything to do with trust and building that connection and building that gut feeling that people get, right? When they interact with you, your business, and so on. So Paul Sabay has another question. He's got great questions, by the way. And for those of you that are watching, if you have questions or comments for Tonya, here's the time to ask them. So Paul asks, as a trade paper, do you find the internet has made it easier to target your customers, or you still need to hit more events?
I think the internet cannot replace what we do on land. So a lot of people have grown up in this internet stage and they don't even know what it's like to go out and network, because they do everything online. So I think it's very important, because for my industry, Hollywood is a very social industry. And even though they're online, they're also going out to events at night and doing things. So yeah, I think it's just a social business. So you have to be out there and you have to be real strategic and decide, what events you want to go to. How are they going to help you? Because people I coach, filmmakers, a lot of times they want to go this and they want to go to that. And I'm like, why are you going? How is it going to serve you? How is it going to move you forward? So you just have to know. You just don't go, And it's almost like that movie in The Devil Wears Prada, where she knew everybody that Meryl Streep was going to talk to. And she had their background in a book. And it's the same kind of thing. You got to go out there and be prepared and know who the people are that are at the workshop or on the panel or that are giving the event, and be able to answer that question of what do you do, your little elevator pitch, and be able to really give it. And that's filmmakers have to do that all the time. And I always say, you don't just say you're a filmmaker, especially online. They'll put their description, I'm a filmmaker. I say you're an award-winning filmmaker, at least if you won an award somewhere, or say something to distinguish yourself, because you're in a sea of beige. Everybody looks the same, and you've got to stand out. You've got to figure out what is special about you. And for me, it's what is special about the filmmakers that is going to make them stand out in a sea of beige when there's really no new ideas. I mean, it's girl meets guy, falls in love. It's just in a different setting, different production values, different language, but the basic story is not new. Right. So you've got to figure out how to distinguish yourself.
That's awesome. And I love how you're coaching filmmakers on how to do that. And what I'd like to add to what it is that you're saying, because this is great. Finding that edge, finding that advantage, if anyhow, any way. The other thing I like to add to that is understanding if they're going to particularly target someone individually or in particular, like understand them, really do your homework on them. Right. What are their needs? What are their passion? Exactly. What solution can you solve for them? Like, how can you be of value to them? And then you're going to get the ears perking up because they're going to be like, is this person spying on me? Like, how do they know that I needed this or wanted this? And again, having that inside track, and focusing your efforts on that, not just coming in, hey, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a dime a dozen. And, well,
that's the beauty of the internet too, is because, you learn about people. It blows me away when I'm out there in the industry and people are saying, oh, how's your little grandson, or how's this or that? I mean, because they know little bits and pieces of your life that you've opened the doors up to. So if you're looking to work and network with somebody, you can do the same thing. Become friends with them, not on an industry and a business level, but find something in common. I mean, people know that I am a New York Giants, New York Jets, New York fan. I mean, born and raised in New York City. And so, people always like when they hit me up, I normally, send the same standard email responses to people. But when somebody hits me up with something like that, I do respond because they're paying attention.
And they made it personal.
They made it personal. And so that's why the internet is so great, because you can look up and see what people are interested in. And like, if you're a filmmaker and you're going to go talk to a director, you want to know what he's done before. You want to say something nice about, I really love this film because of, you've got to have something to say. And that goes in the business world too. Whoever you're talking to, you need to know who they are, what their likes and dislikes are, if you're trying to create a relationship, at least.
It's so spot on. So I want to, Hollywood is this, it's almost like this untouchable entity, right?
Exactly.
Like 2% make it in the biz, right? I don't quote me on the percentages, but I'm just trying to make a point.
No, you're about right though.
Yeah. I'm trying to make this point. So I take that, right, and I put it into entrepreneurship, right? There's people that are working a 9-to-5 right now, possibly, that are listening to this, right? Or there's an entrepreneur that's just starting out, right? And he's just getting his feet wet, or she's just getting her feet wet. And they're saying to themselves, I don't know if I can do this. And so I think you have, what impresses me about you so much is you went after Goliath. You went full bore into Hollywood, and you were like, I'm going to make a name here.
Yeah, that's also my upbringing. My family's from the islands, from Panama and Jamaica. And I was just raised to know that you can be and do anything you want to do. And if you weren't raised that way, you got to find that, and really believe that for yourself. Because I went into the world in Hollywood and, went up against Hollywood Reporter and Daily Variety, created a trade paper, and, know all of them and met all of them, the editors and publishers, and, got into like the Academy Awards and the Television Critics Association, all these things where I was not supposed to be, not because I was Black, but because I was new and I didn't have the credentials to get in. Right. But I just never believe in that I can't do anything. And so it was unconscious. I wouldn't have even thought to be worried about that. I'm just going to go up and let them know who I am, what I do. And it's just worked out for me. Knock on wood. God.
I love it. So it takes brevity. It takes confidence. And like Tonya said, if you didn't have that upbringing, then find that reason. Tony Robbins talks about that, right? If you don't want to do something, then find a bigger reason to do it. And that has driven me my whole career as an entrepreneur. And now I have a 6-month-old son. And he is just like the driver of he's the kerosene to the flame, right?
Yep.
When he stepped foot in my, on the planet, I was like, now I really found why, I'm doing things. And so that's why I want to encourage the viewers and listeners out there that are paying attention to this to really understand that if you really want to make it as an entrepreneur, if you really want to break through any glass ceiling or anything that's got to be holding you back, you got to find that confidence. You got to break through that fear because, man, it was Will Smith. He's got this video going on right now that's just like, I believe it's just going viral. He talks about how he was skydiving in Dubai. I don't know if you caught that, but he was out with buddies and they were all drinking in Dubai, and his jabbermouth was like, you know what we should all do tomorrow? We should all go skydiving. And he didn't think he was going to get the response that he got. And they were all like, dude, we're in Dubai. When are we coming back? Like, might as well. So they all agreed to it. And he was like, all right, cool. So he was trying to be all tough. And he was like, all right, we'll meet down in the lobby at 10 o'clock. So they continue on with the day. And he just like kind of forgot about it. And next thing you know, he was like, oh, he woke up and he was just like, oh, shoot. Like I told them that we were supposed to leave at 10, right? So he was like, I don't think they're going to show up. So he goes down to the lobby and sure enough, they're all sitting there waiting for him. So fast forward, he's a nervous wreck. They're driving to the airport. They get on the plane. They're in this rinky-dink plane, right? They're going up 10,000, 14,000 feet. And now he's just like ready. His heart's ready to pound out. And he jumped. And when he jumped, he said it was the most euphoric moment he ever had in his life. And he said, all that fear that I had prior to coming here was literally for no reason. Yeah. Because the beauty that he saw the second after he jumped was right on the other side of that fear.
Yep. So true.
I just I will never forget. Now he was a little bit more articulate with how he told the story, but that's how I perceived the story and understood the story. And, I tell a lot of entrepreneurs out there that say, oh, I can't afford you right now, or I can't afford to do this right now. Listen, Tonya found a way. You
got to find a way.
She borrowed. I had my podcast guest yesterday, Tina Panariello from Brooklyn. She started this nail business. She painted nails. And 30 years later, she's still painting nails. And she was in the Daily News, and she opened up her salon and a sale. And it was crazy. And she said, when I got the passion to open up my store, I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, I need help.
That's what I did too. My parents helped me. And it's so funny because maybe about 15 years ago, my mom found a check that she had written to me that I had never cashed for like $15,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So my parents were great. So they just wanted to help me and everything. And
that's awesome.
Really
well, God bless you.
God
bless you that you had the support, had the support. So again, guys, if you don't have parents, if you don't have that support, find that reason. Great entrepreneurs are resourceful.
Yes, you have to be resourceful because I had no money to do anything that I was doing in the beginning. And I quickly learned the fine art of bartering. And that is how I got everything done is I bartered my way to do it. I couldn't afford to print my first trade paper, and I talked to the printer, made a deal with them. You can do anything you want to do. Really, you can. I've done it. With nothing, even though I knew I had parents that would help me and everything, still, I was a business person. I wasn't going to run to my parents every time I needed something. So I had to figure it out. And bartering, I still barter. I barter to this day. Bartering is the only way to survive. And I'm teaching my kids because they're taking over the film festival. I'm grooming them to take over. And they're like, well, we got to pay for this. We got to pay for that. And I'm like, no, you don't. You barter. We don't have the money. This is what you have to do. We're not going to pay $10,000 to have a website done. We're going to make a deal with some design studio, that wants to get into the Hollywood and wants to get in this business. And let's do a deal with them where they become the official web designer for HBFF and all the filmmakers and throw our business and the filmmakers business over to them. Works every year.
I love it. See, now you got my ears perked up. You got my ears perked up. So as we turn the corner, we start to wrap up. I want to go into present, right? I want to go into present. So, real quick, talk to us about the film festival, because I know that's like your passion and your pride and joy.
It is. It's now one of the largest Black film festivals in the world. I've actually taken it to Nigeria and done a Nigeria edition because Nigeria is Nollywood, and it's the second largest film market in the world. There's Hollywood, then there's Nollywood, and then there's Bollywood. So I quickly made contacts in Nigeria, and they paid for me to come out and do a small festival there. So that's really kind of where I'm headed towards, is doing it and bringing that information and those opportunities to filmmakers all over the world, especially in the diaspora. And, what I love about the film festival is we get filmmakers when they're starting out. So we get to teach them about being a filmmaker-preneur, that it's not just the creative, it's also the business. You could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have your business stuff right, forget it. Nobody will even know. If you don't know how to talk to people, how are they going to know? Most people don't even know how to email people. I get emails all the time saying, I want to network with you, or can you introduce me to an agent, or some crazy question. And I'm just like, no, you need to read about the right way to do things. And that's where my products come in, because I can teach them, obviously. But, and it's not to do it because I'm trying to scam them or anything. It's because if they want to move forward, they need to know this stuff. And it's the reason why a lot of filmmakers aren't successful, because they don't have the business side down.
Look at
that. That's what we do at the film festival. Is we have about 100 speakers every year. We do about 24 panels and workshops about all areas of the business. And we get some of the, top leading writers, producers, directors, agents coming in and talking to the filmmakers. And, because they're doing it in this environment, they give a lot, which is really great. And so it's worked out. I just say knock on wood and thank God.
I love it. You found a gap. You mentioned that before.
Yeah.
You found a gap and you filled it. And
supply and demand.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that will never, ever go away.
Never, never, never. If you find something, that's why, when I got into this online business, I was like, oh my God, everybody's this kind of coach or that kind of coach. And it's like, who do you choose out of them? What's different about anyone's? It would drive you crazy trying to figure it out. And I've met lots of friends that are still struggling, a couple of years later, because they haven't been able to move forward in this entrepreneurial pursuit of being some kind of coach, a business coach, a success coach, or whatever it is, and they're stuck. And the way to get unstuck is to find what's special about you. And then just bring it. You got to bring it. You really do. But you got to be educated, and if you haven't educated yourself, you're going to die fast. I mean, you just are. You got to know what you're doing and read, because there's books out there.
Yeah. Expertise is the differentiating factor.
That's it. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Anthony Tripati, one of our Facebook viewers, says, "Smart woman, much respect."
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
So Anthony's I met Anthony online, but man, it's a while back now. And he follows all my stuff. And Anthony, I can't thank you enough for jumping on all my lives and watching and listening to my podcasts. So anyway, going forward now, it's 2018. And a lot of you people, a lot of the folks that listen to me on a routine basis know that I look at branding as a living organism. I look at a business as a living organism. And if you're not providing the right nutrients to that brand, it will become malnourished and eventually die.
Absolutely.
So how are you treating your brand in 2018? What are you doing in 2018 to nurture this brand, continue to grow it, and continue to sustain its success?
I found out maybe about 3-4 months ago, someone said to me, you're on LinkedIn, you got like 10,000 connections. What are you doing? And I realized I wasn't doing anything. I don't even know how these people came to connect with me. They just asked. So that's why I said, once you have a brand out there, people will find you. Same with Instagram and Twitter. People just found me. So when I got busy on them, I already had a following. But then I found out that you have to really go to where your audience is. And I never thought my audience was on LinkedIn because, filmmakers and stuff. But then I found out that there are a lot of people that, are maybe nearing retirement or, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, who've always wanted to make a movie and never got started. And those were even better clients than people who would just actually want to be filmmakers, because these people had money. And it totally opened the door, because now I had found a place to talk to people who have a passion for filmmaking and who can afford me on the coaching end, which is amazing. So in 2018, moving forward, I'm really focusing on, getting out there on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. And if you really connect with people and you plan what you're going to do, and I'm not a planner, but I have forced myself to actually have a strategic plan for social media that I'm going to post every day, that I'm going to be consistent. And I have seen such a difference, like in a month of tweeting and being on LinkedIn. The engagement is through the roof. Then again, you have to know your message, know who you are, who you're talking to. And if that's the right connection, the doors just open up. I mean, they really do, because people are so happy to have found you because you're what they need. So
there you have it.
2018, that's my push, is really on social media. I want to grow. I want to become, a social media influencer, and I know that I can do that. So that's what I'm really working on, because that gets my message out there, and my passion is helping filmmakers, get their movies made. And, but they got to go through a process to do that. And I can show them how to do that. So, just getting my name out there through social media.
I love it. I love it. So I just want to unpack that a little bit, because you made some really great points. It's come with a strategy, come with a purpose, and do it. Like, that's what I heard just there. Is like, and understand who you're talking to.
And what they need.
And what they need.
And make sure that you can give them, because sometimes there's a disconnect, because I found that myself. I thought that I was talking to the right people many times. Actually, when I started my trade paper, it was for actors. It wasn't for filmmakers. And it was because I thought I was reaching out to actors, and filmmakers just came out of nowhere, and I ended up becoming this film person. But I started as an actress and a model myself. So that's why I was originally talking to actors. And then I found that there was a wider universe, because I touched a button and I opened up a door, and that's all that it takes. So if you can just find that opening, you're in.
Boom. And that's a wrap. No pun intended. So, Tonya, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us. Well, early afternoon.
It's been great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad that I connected with you. For those that want to learn more about you and the film festival, where can they go?
Go to my website at www.TonyaKersey, TanyaKersey.com. And I also have a free Facebook group called Breakthrough Filmmaker Success Support Group. So you can just search for that. It's free. And I'm in there every day, and you can ask questions and get information. And I'm going to launch the Breakthrough Filmmaker Success Academy next month because it's too much for me. I can't serve everybody, and I needed to figure out a way to get the information out there. So I'm doing a very low cost academy where you go through the 6 stages of production, preparation, development, pre-production, production, post-production. You can go through and learn about the whole process of making a movie through the academy. So, that's where people can get educated. So that's coming in March. And I'm really excited about that because that will outlive me, because it doesn't change. The process of making a movie doesn't change. And so this will really be something that people will be able to go to long-term and get that information and, join a group and join a community and a tribe. And that's really what it's all about, is getting started. You just got to start.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Paul Sabay says, great nuggets served up here. Thanks for sharing this, gang. So thanks, Paul, for appreciating it and participating in it on a consistent basis. So, Tonya, we got to wrap up.
Okay.
Thank you so much for all of your great wisdom. And this is not the last time we're going to speak, I promise you. There you have it, guys. Just some quick housekeeping things. If you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout on Facebook yet, simply go to the search query, type in Brand Doctors. Yeah, that's right. Tanya's in there now. Yep. We actually streamed this live inside the group, so
good
to see it. So, let me see. Does this carry over? Okay, Paul's still asking questions, but sorry, Paul, we're out of time. But so if you haven't come over to the group yet, come in. There's great entrepreneurs in that group, and we're all trying to help each other take their brands to the next level. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, please do. And if you haven't shared it with a friend or a colleague, I appreciate it and thank you in advance. I'm signing off. Catch you on the next episode, guys. Hope you got some great value out of this one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.